Welcome back to uh, our live stream. So today we'll be discussing the topic of the hour, that is the dog menace, Supreme Court's proposed solution to it, and people's protest against it. So first of all, let's start with the context. So the Supreme Court gave the judgment that this stray dog is a menace, and in Delhi they need to be put into shelters. The idea was that this will ensure safety of streets, and the crucial takeaways from it are that there are around 20,000 deaths a year just because of dog bites, and there are a whole lot of videos come out daily that how kids are being attacked and mauled by dogs, and a whole lot of cases are also coming out. So the situation was grim, and Supreme Court proposed a solution. People started protesting, and now the Supreme Court is looking to reconsider it. And first of all, let's discuss the judgment that the Supreme Court passed.
Yeah, yeah. So let us see what the Supreme Court actually said. The Supreme Court, I mean, obviously concerned about the huge number of dog bites and the dog attacks on kids, old people, and it's an actual menace. People have been complaining about this for years, but the government hasn't done anything about it, and partly the courts are also to blame because previously it was the another judge in a Supreme Court who said that these animals cannot be relocated, right? So even if you take them, vaccinate them, you have to release them back where you took them from. And as we've seen, the municipalities have not really been effective at the whole neutering, sterilizing, and all of that. On top of that, that also has limited efficacy. So what we are seeing is a lot of people suffering from dog bites, a lot of unfortunate deaths. The videos of kids being mauled are absolutely horrendous to watch. So the Supreme Court took a sumo to cognizance of this issue and has ordered the Delhi NCR authorities to take all these stray dogs, put them in shelters. I think they've given a time period of about 8 weeks. And the court has clearly ordered saying that these dogs, after they're put in shelters, cannot be released back into the public spaces. Because there's no point, right? You just put them and release them back into the street, they're still going to go around and start biting people and creating a lot of menace. So now the question is, okay, will this policy actually be effective? And of course, you have a lot of animal rights people protesting. I've seen some videos where they were trying to open the doors of these carts that were taking these dogs, trying to free them up. So all sorts of things are happening, and the court has clearly mentioned that if anybody tries to interfere in the process of removal of these stray dogs, they can be arrested for contempt of court or trying to interfere with official duties. So now the thing is, there are lakhs of dogs. Do we actually have shelters? Number one, and two, who's going to pay for these shelters? Like, okay, now dog is going to be in a shelter. Let us even assume that they spent like crores of whatever double-digit crores or whatever it costs to actually set up these shelters and put them there. Whatever the continuous recurring upkeep. So the taxpayer is basically having to bear the burden of that. And I don't think this is going to be very effective. So what are the other solutions that we need to look at? Is one thing is we have to be very clear that the animal rights folk. I mean, I like dogs. I've fostered strays in the past, but I've strictly kept them within my premises, not let them off onto the street where they go harass somebody and then I'll just go pet them, have fun, and somebody else pays the price. So it wasn't like that. So if you're a responsible pet owner, or even if you're adopting it, it's your responsibility to take care of the animal. You just can't say it's a community animal. It becomes like a tragedy of commons, right? So nobody is taking responsibility for it, for the damage that these animals are causing. So previously, I mean, this issue came up a few years ago, and I had sort of proposed a sort of a solution, one wherein people say that you have no right to kick all the dogs out of the streets, or some of them are good, some of them are bad, and all that. So, and I see, I personally, from at least like most of us libertarians, we look at rights from a very human perspective. Like we humans come up with have these rights because it sort of helps us arrange our affairs and try to minimize conflict of property and so forth. So at any point of time, if the cost of I value one human life greater than probably all the stray dogs in the city, and of course that it has a very limited context to it. So I'll say what my policy solution is, a proposal is, that all stray dogs should be microchipped and collared. Okay, so that is one way to know whether even a dog has been sterilized, it's been vaccinated, whatever. The only way to know it is if there is some marker. So usually in some places, I think they microchip them, or they usually clip their ears or something, so that the municipal guys know that. They do it in my city. They clip their ears a bit, but that's not sometimes might not be very effective. But yeah, microchipping should be done for any stray dogs. I don't believe that stray dogs necessarily belong on the streets where they're causing damage. But let us assume some people say, fine, let the dogs be there, they're causing no harm. Then, just somebody has to sponsor this. And like, you have all these animal rights group today, you've seen so many of them come out in protest. There are all these people who say, we go, we feed them, we do this, we do that. Okay, let them increase their responsibility a little bit and, start microchipping the dogs. Any animal that they think is safe, fine, whatever, start microchipping and collar them. And these any dog that doesn't have it, like after a grace period of time, a transition time is given. Any dog that doesn't have a sponsor, which you can identify as one without a collar or one without a microchip, that should be, we should be able to dispose that animal of, take it out of town, do whatever. It's an unclaimed animal. Nobody owns it. Nobody's staked a claim on it. So it can be removed by the municipal authorities or by any parties, because most of the time people themselves are interested in getting rid of these dogs, but because of the government rules and regulations, they're not allowed to do that. You can't even take it. Like if I have problematic dogs in my area, I can't take them somewhere outside city in another area or somewhere slightly away from population and leave them there. That is also a crime according to these codes. So now, after the sponsoring system is done and all these animal lovers and all these groups come and say, what, we vouch for these dogs are under ours, we are the sponsors for it. Any damage that the dog then does, if it kills a person, if it bites somebody, goes crashes into somebody's bike, causes them injury, these people should be held liable for any damages, any deaths, whatever it can be, civil liability, criminal liability, whatever it is. See, if I have a pet dog and it goes and bites somebody, I am actually liable as an owner. So what's happening here with the case of street dogs is all these animal rights people are enjoying the benefits of these dogs, but without taking any responsibility. No, you can't have that, right? So if you're saying the dog is yours, or it's your community, all your community, identify yourself, take responsibility for the animal. So whenever it causes any damage, the person can sue you guys, and that will be identified by the microchip or the collar. So that's how we know it. So this is the proposal, and once this happens, then if there are animals that people no longer vouch for or care for, then those can just be disposed. Right now, this policy of taking them, putting them in government shelters, and obviously, the amount of scams that the government does. So for every dog, they'll start charging insane amount of money, again burdening the taxpayers. So I think it's a reasonable compromise. If you really want dogs on the street, take responsibility for them, and we will hold you liable if that dog does anything. So I mean, that's the solution, and I
I,
think it's also compatible with a very libertarian point of view.
I have a question, Ajay. You mentioned your policy. Has this been tried in any other country before? Does this have any precedence?
No, it doesn't have any precedent, but in a lot of countries, they have no problem with euthanizing animals, right? So most of these countries don't really, at least in most of the Western countries, they don't tolerate stray dogs, right? So even if you abandon a pet, you're held responsible. And most of these countries actually mandate microchipping for your pet dogs. So all dogs have to be registered or microchipped, so that in case some dog goes somewhere, does some damage, they'll be able to identify. So who the owner is clearly identified. And the other thing is, like, talking about taking responsibility, I really like the system in Texas. In some of the cities, the law basically says that if you are feeding and you're taking care of an animal, you will be held liable as its owner or a guardian or whatever. So if that dog, so you just find some street dog and you've been feeding it for a while, taking care of it, that goes and bites somebody, it doesn't matter if it's legally, you bought it and registered. If they can prove it, then you are held liable for the damage. So I think that is a libertarian way of looking at it, and we should extend that in India by making sure that every dog, and any community that wants to protect its dog, go ahead, do it, pay the price for any damage it does.
When you say microchipping, is it really expensive to microchip a dog, or do we require
Uh,
advanced to it?
no, I don't think it's very expensive, but whatever the cost is, it's up to the people who, the animal lovers to fund it,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
Like
so there's
taxpayers
not
are not paying for it.
no, the taxpayer absolutely should not pay for this, right? So if you really want dogs on the street, you care for them, you have all these non-profits, NGOs, PETA, whatever, there are millions of those organizations. All of you guys get together, pool your money, put your money where your mouth is, go microchip the dogs, go get them sterilized, go do that. Why is all of this happening from the taxpayer money anyway? So this is a problem that can be dealt with. Otherwise you say that, okay, we don't want the municipality taking care of it. People will be more than happy to do it. I mean, I saw a video just I think yesterday, there was some guy in Rajasthan. I mean, it obviously, see, animal cruelty isn't great, and most of us instinctively we don't like seeing, when animals are being subject to cruel thing, but he just went around shooting dogs. He was just like driving around, taking his gun and shooting it. Now the police has filed a case on him, saying that he is what is it, careless discharge of a firearm, violating the Arms Act, and some other cases they filed on him. But a lot of villagers are now going and protesting in front of the police, saying that if you want to arrest that guy, arrest all of us. We are all part of it because we are fed up of these stray dogs that are attacking us. So you can see the sort of frustration that is happening with people. And if you don't provide, if you don't solve the problem, then they will automatically. Even in Bangalore, I used to live there, and walking in the nights was extremely traumatic because the dogs used to just like gang up and create incredible amount of pain. And then suddenly in between, I don't know, maybe somebody got bit, somebody got messed up, somebody started mixing poison in the meat and dumping them in the trash, and a lot of dogs were dying, and everybody was like outraged over it. But what do, right? You just want to walk to your house, and the dogs are continuously attacking you. The municipalities don't do it, and the dog lovers won't even let you remove that dog and get rid of it. Then that's the last resort. You want to protect yourself, so you just poison the dog. I mean, it might sound inhumane, but what's the other alternative? So now through this system, we can figure out which dogs, at least if it's causing problem, it's very quick, right? Once you're a dog lover, you go sponsor a dog, bite somebody. Now you have severe amount of penalties, fines. You will automatically adjust your behavior accordingly. You'll not still keep doing that. And if somebody dies, then obviously you're liable for jail time as well. So that I think this will pretty much solve the whole problem.
Now we are pretty clear how we want to deal with dogs. Can we apply the same logic to other animals, stray cows?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are a lot of deaths that happen due to cows and buffaloes, right? So these people actually leave them out onto the streets, and they cause a lot of accidents to the vehicles. I think every month there are like 200 deaths or something. I don't remember the number. I previously had shared it in a group. I don't remember the number, but there's a non-significant number of deaths that happen because of cattle, and also the total amount of uses. And these cattle sometimes are very aggressive. Also, there's so many incidents of these cows and bulls going and attacking people, ramming into
Mhm.
bikes, and all. So many of those videos. So the concept is the same for pretty much any of this, right? So if we're not saying that the government should remove them, but see, if you leave your car in the middle of the road and just go away, the police is gonna tow it away, right? So same thing. Why? How can you let an animal pose a hazard for you? And with at least with cattle, one of the problems with that is one, some of the owners of the cattle, they still collect them at the evening, but they just let them wander the streets. So they should be held liable. Again, maybe the microchipping solution can be applied there also. The other thing is just seize them and auction them off if anybody wants the animal. Otherwise, you have all these Goshala guys who keep saying that they love this animal so much. So just call them and say, there's an animal, go pick it up and go feed it. Just transfer it to them. Yeah, but we can't let human life suffer because of animals, no matter which animal. It's a cat, dog, the rat, flying rat, that is a pigeon. Doesn't matter. It's all the same.
Yeah, the current approach used by the government is the ABC policy, animal birth control.
Yeah.
Turns out, they have failed at it. Municipal corporations are given the responsibility to take care of stray dogs, but they are not proportionately given the powers and the money to deal with it.
Yeah, no, it's more than the money, If the court has clearly told these municipal guys, you can't kill an animal. You can't kill an animal. So even if that is creating a trouble, according to the current ABC rules, they can't kill it unless that animal is like a rabbit, like if it's infected with rabies or something. There are like so many conditions there, so they don't have a free hand. And the other thing these people keep saying is you should sterilize them, you should neuter them. It's not gonna happen. That those strategies scientifically actually don't work. How you can't eliminate entire dog population by just sterilizing a few animals, because in the amount of the size at which our cities are, our country is, all it takes is a few animals which skipped out the whole sterilization process to go breed with some of the others, and the whole cycle repeats it. So
Yeah,
there's an actually
they reproduce quite fast,
they
plus
reproduce
around.
quite fast, right? So the whole sterilizing thing and eventually all dogs will get bred out is sort of a fairy tale, more so considering the context of India. And also neutering, they'll say if you neuter it, it'll be fine. No, dogs, even if they're neutered, don't become like rabbits or something like, right? So they'll still attack you. And when dogs form packs, right, they will attack you. And people are all trying to form these theories saying that if a dog bites, oh, it's an innocent poor baby, some human must have harmed it. They just end up creating all these weird theories, but those animals don't aren't like this, right? So they get in groups, they get aggressive, they see a threat or they see anything, not just a threat. Sometimes they just go and attack it for the sake of it. They're animals, right? And even humans are sometimes very, higher order animals, behave very callously, and bullying and all that happens. So you're talking about animals here, and you're trying to use some psychology, saying that it is harmless, it is innocent. We should not project all these values. So a dog is neither good or bad. It's just an animal, and an animal is going to behave based on its nature. So it's not a rabbit or a hamster or something. Right? Dogs are aggressive, depending on the breed, depending on the temperament, a lot of things. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We should definitely. Oh, you spoke about local bodies, so but that is also important, because now what's happened is, like, when you look at ABC, right? So why is ABC being set by the central government, right? So now the Kerala government wanted to get rid of the dogs, but then it'll go to the court, and the court will read the ABC. They will look at PCA. So let us at least like start with saying, delegate these off to your state and cities, right? At least maybe Kerala guys will do a smarter thing. Maybe some Telangana guys might do a smarter thing. Maybe Delhi won't. Maybe Bombay definitely won't. Those they love all sorts of animals there. And a very interesting factoid is, no, not fact is that the first riot in Bombay ever happened because of dogs. When the British government wanted to cull dogs, this was the first riot in the history of Bombay. It was all these animal lovers. So this animal lovers coming is not some modern woke phenomena. It has happened. This was in, I think it was 18 something, right? I don't remember the date. You can just Google it up. It's called the Dog Riots of Bombay. And then the whole Parsi community came together, and there were a lot of protests, and the government had to sort of back down, and they had to come with some compromise about it. But yeah, so these some cities, some people react like this. But I
No,
think the
in
moment you
the
start,
in the case of Mumbai, I guess dogs are taken care of. The companies they are interested in doing it. So Tata does a lot of
sure,
they utilize
no,
CSR to
more
follow
power.
those dogs, vaccinate them.
Do all of that, but do all of that and take responsibility when the dog attacks somebody or bites them. Now, you want to be somebody like some Ambani who has some animal refuge, go take all your stray dogs, keep it in your sanctuary. You leave it on the street, it bites somebody, you will be held responsible. You must be held responsible. Only then can we see any. I mean, if you don't suffer the consequences of your actions, then nothing will change, right? Where is the incentive? It's all about incentives. We have to create the right incentives. Bad behavior must be punished. Irresponsible people who are putting other people at risk must bear the consequences for their action. You can't just say, oh, it is unfortunate that some kid died. No, that dogs would not have been there if you weren't stopping them.
Yeah,
Don't say that.
also at the end of the day, it comes at there's always a trade-off. So, maybe in gated communities, people do not experience it, but
Oh, wait, I'll tell you what. Okay, very good point about the gated communities. The court even previously ruled that you can't, gated community can't kick out the dogs. Like when you build a gated community, it's not like on that entire site there are going to be dogs in, right? But most gated communities don't have all these like totally high walls with fences and all. See, eventually some dogs will end up coming in, and there'll be one or two guys in the RWA who will go and feed these dogs. And then the remaining people will say, no, we don't, we want the dogs out. and the court will say, no, you cannot displace any animal even from a gated community. It is a community part of a, and all sorts of random statements they make. So even if you have a gated community, you can't kick them out, kick the animals out. So you're constrained everywhere. So um,
No, the trade-off really is when there are such stray dogs around. A lot of times, parents are worried. These kids are not encouraged to go out and play just because, in public places you will find these stray dogs, and you can't supervise, your kids not going around. A little kid will go and pet the dog, and who knows if
and the
the
thing
dog.
is, sometimes these kids, because the dog will probably just scratch them, bite them a little bit, and sometimes these kids don't even tell. I mean, I was just seeing one video on Twitter, and this kid got bitten, and he was afraid or something. He didn't tell it in his house. Poor kid got rabies, and it was heartbreaking to watch that video.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we would have to, prioritize humans over stray
Eh,
dogs.
Any day, absolutely. Like, I mean, there's some people say my dog is my baby and all. Good for you. Keep your dog in your house. If somebody is coming into your house and attacking your dog, feel free to shoot that person and protect your dog. At that case, your dog is valued more than some intruder who comes in. But if it's out on the street, sorry, like, you can't put a human life at risk.
So would that then entail, a lot of these dog owners, they adopt the dog, but for example, a lot of people buy dogs, but after when it grows up, then they leave it alone on the street.
Yeah, so I mean, those dogs also should be one if it's a dog that they have, if they're abandoning it, one we should make sure that they don't leave it onto the street, or they should be punished for that. Otherwise, if it's uncollared and I mean, he will still have the microchip on him, right? So if the dog does any damage, doesn't matter if he's abandoned it, he will still be held liable. If he doesn't want it, he'll have to take it to some euthanasia center or some shelter, reassign the microchip, whatever, or get rid of the dog. That's it. You can't just dump it on the street. If it bites somebody, as long as the chip is there, he'll be held liable. If he's altering the microchip, removing it off, and dumping it onto the street, there should be some sort of a fine or penalty to discourage such behavior.
A lot of these animal right activists, they are, like what do you think of Supreme Court being hyperactive, taking so much of
No,
a lot of social issues. They are
mm,
now going to do
uh,
one another session tomorrow. It was a two-judge session. Now they'll do a three-judge session.
so this is the problem. So this is the problem that Tushar, all of us have been. We've all been talking about. This is one, we want lot of this to be resolved at the local level. A dog issue in any city, if I have a problem with dogs, it should not go to the Supreme Court. That should at least be settled at the local court, right? And the other thing is, why are courts getting involved in these issues? Right? So everything today, the court will say you can't move the stray dog. Tomorrow it will say you have to move it. Why are courts actually making these decisions? There is a lot of judicial overreach happening, and I mean, I do like the end result that these dogs will be going away from the streets or causing less harm. But I disagree with one, the Supreme Court's strategy of doing it. Two, I don't like so much judicial activism, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so why are we? I mean, why are people? Why are people electing all these, political parties into power? And if they can't even prevent their kids from dying on the streets, what good are any of these parties? And it all comes down to local bodies not having enough power. Because if 500 of us are able to go to our local corporator and say, "Dude, this is your ward. There are street dogs. Somebody died." And we are going to sit here and we are going to make your life hell till you solve that problem. That guy is going to react. Now, to go to the Supreme Court and where they look at all these laws which have been made at a very central level, again, this is another area where decentralization can really help. Maybe there is one really small township where, maybe uh, the dogs, or maybe people are taking care of the food, and they're the kind of dogs that don't attack whatever, and people in that town decide it's fine, they're not causing any damage, so let them say that okay, we will not kill these dogs, whatever, just like come up with other methods, as long as somebody is not hurt, right? So let them come up with other policies. But in general, we don't want to Supreme Court to be deciding. I mean, it sounds really ridiculous that a dog problem in your town has to be solved by. I mean, the Supreme Court has to solve that problem. It's like going to Prime Minister Modi if, like, your nala is messed up in your in your thing, right? So again, decentralization can
in
solve
the
some of it.
In the current political context, I have listened to what Rahul Gandhi had to say, and what the BJP is totally silent on it. The opposition is raising some voice, and almost no one is talking of disposing of these stray dogs by eliminating them. Almost everyone is talking of the same ABC policy, but with some better reforms, saying we should throw more money, we should build more these camps where these dogs are kept. So do you think that is a policy which is libertarian?
Uh, I'm sorry, can you just like repeat that?
Yeah.
What
So
policy?
the current there are two people. Some people are in support of it. Some people say these dogs should be simply be caged and taken away from the society, and
Okay,
others like, okay, we should simply vaccinate them, neuter them, and leave them back in their natural habitat from where they
there is
were.
no natural, but there is no natural habitat. These are cities. These are cities built by humans. Dogs used to live in the jungle. We domesticated them, and now careless people just like let them out, and they're a huge problem. Now, should dogs be killed? I mean, nobody likes just for the sake of it, just like killing animals, right? Nobody. Usually, most people don't really like it, and the reason why we want to do it is because they're actually causing a problem. If people say, okay, let's lock them up in cages, don't kill them, or fine, go ahead, take that animal, pick it off the street, go build your cage somewhere, or buy a nice little forest, build a nice wall, and keep them inside. Dogs are an invasive species. People are so biased because they sort of look cute and all. I mean, I love dogs, but they are an invasive species in the sort of damage that they do to wildlife also. In IIT Madras, which is sort of like in a forest region. So if you go, it's a beautiful campus, and they have like deer going all through campus. You know how dogs have been killing so many of these deers, and they've been trying really hard to solve this problem. But what can you do, right? You can't go and just like shoot those dogs, or you can't kill them. And if you strictly follow those, you can't relocate them. But they're killing wildlife, right? Now, if you go shoot a deer or you kill a deer, heaven forbid, you will be in jail for a really long time for the Wildlife Act. But you're letting an invasive species go and attack all the deer and all. So what happens then? Are deer not valuable? So once you start creating all these arbitrary rules about animals, it becomes really complicated. So here the main thing is, let's focus that right now dogs are a threat to human life. And there are two ways people are interested. Please take responsibility for them. If you won't take responsibility for them, they will be eliminated. If you
Yeah,
don't care about them,
but we spoke of decentralization. I guess we should also stress on deregulation. When people spoke that these dogs should be caged, an animal right activist she was saying basically that, hey, if you want to create a cage, following all those animal, there are these welfare organizations, there are these government departments which mandate that a cage has to be of this requirement. It has to be, you have to have people who do this, who do that. And if you follow all these rules, you cannot build a.
first, you know what we should do? Get rid of the ABC and get rid of PCA, the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. Okay. So I find this topic about animal cruelty mildly a little bit of a hypocrisy because we eat animals, right? So, I mean, we kill animals for food. Is that not cruelty? I mean, how are you defining cruelty on a very arbitrary thing, right? And so, for example, some animals are killed for leather, right? So you have like a leather thing that came because some animal was killed, right? So is that not cruelty? Then why is this something, some sort of a special category? So let's get rid of that. If anything need be, let those be handled by some minor civil codes within the town at the most. Like, fine people if you think somebody is just like unnecessarily doing some sort of a thing at most. But otherwise, just let's get rid of this, and then the problem will get solved automatically. Cruelty, people being very cruel to animals isn't really that huge of a problem. Usually, if somebody does something really sick, like, go drown a cat or a dog or something, the social ostracism and the way people treat that person itself should be a sort of a warning signal. Even now, I think now the government says there's some fine of like 100 rupees, 500 rupees. And in the government, it doesn't even care about such cases unless they become popular. What they're doing is preventing actual threats. Like when there's an actual threat, you can't eliminate it because of these acts. Get rid of it. Kerala guys want to, that some cities in Kerala, they want to get rid of all the dogs, get rid of them. Go ahead, let it give the municipality wants to do it, let them do it. If the animal lovers say no, take them home, take them to your farm. or take responsibility for it. Or this framework which I suggested, that let that be up to like individual towns, cities, and to adopt. Maybe they'll
Yeah,
say
I
euthanasia.
guess this would have been an easy solution if we would have allowed democratic experiments to occur. We
Yeah,
have
we don't.
implemented stuff from Delhi, and if certain municipal corporations they try, then they are overruled by other animal welfare departments. The Prevention of Animal Cruelty Act you mentioned. They keep targeting these organizations who are trying to keep these dogs off the street.
Yeah, so yeah, the whole animal welfare thing, I don't know. Now they're saying it's Article 21 life. It doesn't just apply to humans, it applies to, I don't know, all sorts of arguments. Courts are also very creative in things that they do. They'll pull out something from the directive principles of state policy and say, okay, because of this. Yeah, the whole system is a mess. So, but I think at least from the LPI stance, we should first get rid of these central acts such as ABC and PCA, and then decentralize the other decision making at the town level, and of course definitely hold liable if a town doesn't have this sort of a policy where the sponsors are held liable, then the municipality should be held liable for any death that happens. If they say that no, we will not euthanize dogs, we will not let you euthanize dogs. If somebody dies, the municipality guys have to be held liable for it. The government officers also should be held liable, whether it be potholes, whether it be for rabid animals biting it. They should also be held to task. And the government, I think, has already, there have been cases where it said that the municipality will be held responsible, but in reality, it doesn't translate to much serious action on them. This should change. Even they should face the heat.
Tushar, what do you think of this issue? How's the thing in Chandigarh? Are streets in Chandigarh filled with stray dogs?
Yeah, it's problematic here as well. People like carry sticks when they move out in the evening, and like
Damn.
also like dogs also create damage to the cars. Basically, like car owners have to put special sort of nails on their nail covers on
I
their
have
cars
seen, I
so
have
that
seen
they
those
don't
special gears they put
bump
on
the
the
roof of the
bumper.
cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even my car is also struggling with it. Like the dog has dented the roof, so a whole lot of trouble. Like in the night, you cannot walk out freely. Like you
And
have to be vigilant.
it's just
And
not rabies,
like I
they make
haven't
it difficult to go
faced.
out. They trouble kids,
Yeah,
and at night suddenly I don't know what happens. They
and
maybe
also
they see
like
some vampire.
also
They
the
keep shouting
yes,
midnight.
also and those who are yeah,
Yeah,
and those who are light sleepers struggle with their noises.
yeah. I personally struggle with it. When I was growing up, we had a few stray dogs, and every once in a while they used to howl like they have seen some vampire. And they would do it for 10-15 minutes until someone
Yeah.
goes and disrupts their band. So yeah, they trouble people. They don't let them sleep. They bite and cause the uh, rabies, and a lot of nuisance. And if parents are afraid that their kids should not go out just because there are some random stray dogs in the street, someone has to take care of it. If kids are not given the same freedom which we have,
Yeah.
play games or go to any public place and do it just because there are random dogs, someone has to take care of it. I think the current status quo was that the government was not deeming it as an important issue, and now since the Supreme Court has intervened, it has become the chat of the street.
Yeah, and,
Everyone
and good point, because why weren't governments also taking it seriously? One, they were sort of already constrained by previous Supreme Court judgments. So if there was no ABC, or if the court had said, you know what, this is like a legislative thing, this is a town policy thing, you guys deal with it. So, but that didn't happen. So there's a two-way problem here. One, as it is, our most of our governments are apathetic because the local government isn't strong. So at the state level, they probably don't care as much. And in cases where they actually try to do, the Supreme Court itself was actually a problem. So tomorrow also we'll have to see how the larger bench will rule on this issue. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I hope that they don't say, you can't. move dogs, you can't do anything with them.
No,
So
a lot of people are saying the current judgment passed by the Supreme Court is you can't implement it. They have given 8 weeks of time to cage
true.
all these dogs and basically take care of them in 8 weeks. A lot of people are saying this is not possible, and the judges got angry and gave a judgment.
Yeah. So if it was actually, to be honest, I don't even think that municipalities can actually effectively deal with this problem. But like, maybe if it is actually more delegated to the ward level, I think people in a certain colony, if they're having a problem with dogs, can sort of get together and, it doesn't cost them too much to pull up some resources or, hire some agency to get rid of the dogs in their area. The problem is when somebody is going to try and stop them, especially these animal lovers. So that's where the problem is.
No, I think a lot of people do it, and this is what these animal lovers are critiquing. They say whatever these rabid dogs, whatever these dogs are doing, it is because people are paying people to relocate these dogs, take away from their part of the city. And what do these people do who are in charge and paid money for it? They catch the dog from that street and leave it in some poor part of the city, and that
Yeah.
part becomes the hotspot of all these dogs. They gang up and they do all the nuisance. So I think there is still some taboo about culling dogs and basically euthanizing it. People are still, if someone does it, then people are like, okay, no, this is like a no.
Yeah, okay, then don't call them. Then start paying the price. Once these people start, every time a kid dies with a dog that's been sponsored by some animal lover, then he'll face jail time and then quickly this problem will get sorted.
Yeah, the current, we don't even know the number of dogs. Yeah, I was looking for an estimate. Even the Delhi government says there are 3 lakh. PETA says there are 10 lakhs. So we don't even know how many dogs are there, who these dogs are they even vaccinated, are they rabid? So this is like, the status quo was just overlooking it completely, giving a blind eye.
Yeah. I mean, this is also something that, like, through a little bit of tech, like, now we have a lot of these crowdsourcing portals. So, usually, in a certain area, like, for example, if you have a street, you usually know that there are like 10, 15 dogs that you'll be able to identify by probably distributing this load to individual streets and, having people map or, take pictures and upload it on something, some sort of a tech solution can also help in crowdsourcing this sort of an information, which could help, developing better policies or trying to know the scope of the problem. Where the government's gonna charge some crores to do some dog survey and they'll just do another scam. We know how it works, right? So
Tushar, can we do the comments? A lot of people are commenting, I guess. If we could mirror those comments on the screen, and maybe we can give some reaction to those comments.
Comments
On
on the
the
live stream.
Twitter live stream, yeah.
is it possible to mirror that here on the screen?
Yeah, the same way we did the.
Okay, yeah, earlier, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Times are crazy, man. A few days ago, we had this pigeon issue, and now it's the dog issue. Maybe tomorrow, a cow issue will arise, and people are
No,
not
no,
targeting,
no, no,
saying
no. Cow
if
issue has always been there. I'll tell you what, like, it's much easier to get rid of dogs than get rid of cows.
no,
Uh,
I think then people tomorrow would say, what about monkeys? What about rats? What
But
about cats?
where are the monkeys? Like how monkeys are a problem in some areas. In Delhi, it was actually a big problem. I remember at one point of time, the vice some official, like a sort of like a mayor, I think the vice mayor or something like that. He was pushed from his balcony and he died. A monkey, he was like grappling with a monkey and then it shoved him. He fell off a balcony. Now imagine like literally somebody, the mayor or somebody like that of a city dying because of this thing. And even that you can't do. No, then somebody will come and say monkey is Hanuman. He will say dog is in some Pandavas. There was one dog which Yudhishthira had a dog. So that is holy. You have a cow, it is holy. Snake is one god. Everything is holy except human life. That is the only thing that people don't value in India.
Yeah, this is, I think, attaching a religious significance to it is a failed
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah, but for
They-
dogs, actually, it's not the religious argument. It is and it's mostly the very elite crowd that is who are very disconnected from the actual reality, who actually feel strongly about this. The people who are actually having to face stray dogs, these people don't step out of the cars. No, only when you drive a bike is when you start facing these dogs. If you're driving in the night, you're working late night, you're a street vendor who's like somewhere trying to do business and walking home, you're scrap collectors. Those are the guys who keep getting harassed by these animals. Now you go in a car, hey, say, hey, nice doggy in the afternoon, throw it some food, feel good about yourself, go home and sleep, while some poor kid's gonna get more later that evening. So these people live in a very different world. So
Yeah, I think this is also a better way of telling people that, hey, if possible, if you can afford the money, go live in private gated communities instead of living in communities managed by the government. I
no,
think the growth.
buy an independent house. So that is the problem. What happens is one dog lover will move into a gated community where nobody else wants the dogs. Then they'll say, okay, we will feed the dog. They'll feed the stray dog there, and they won't be even responsible for cleaning its poop. Nothing. So again, same thing. Just leave the dog. Take it, keep it in your own damn apartment. Walk it, clean its poop, like treat it like a pet dog. No, no, no. Community dog, animals have rights too. Animals are citizens of the country, whatever, all that nonsense. So same thing. They don't want to take responsibility. Want to take responsibility? Do it in a way where you suffer the consequences for the damage that's done by the dogs.
Yeah. And can you, speak for a while about how libertarians considered animals as part of private property? Because, a lot of times I have spoken to people and they don't grasp this
Yeah,
concept
I
that,
think
hey,
we'll do a dedicated space to that because that will also come under our environmental policy.
yeah, sure, sure.
No, I mean, if you just have to keep a one line,
So I
animals
think
are already treated like property, right? If you have a chicken, you buy a chicken, you hen, you kill it, you eat it, chicken, it's a property, right? So if we are already treating animals like that because we eat, unless there is some vegan revolution coming and saying we have to change our concept of rights where all sentient animals are considered equal. You can't even eat a hen, you can't even eat a lamb and all that. The, if that's not we're not talking about that, then where animals are already treated like property, right? If you kill an animal, it's you kill somebody else's animal, it's a property crime.
okay, so I think we have covered
Yeah.
a whole lot of questions and audience question. There just one that dog. There are comments like what I could read is that rabies is highly contagious. At one time, 97% of the dogs in Thailand got rabid, and then the second one is dogs should be culled. So, any comments that you can read?
No, I'm not able to see anything. Like, so I don't have
No,
the.
when they were doing it, I could see a pop up, but
Piyush?
now I can't.
Okay. So, all right. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll keep you updated on what decision now the Supreme Court takes. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Have a good one. Bye.